Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. In today's video, we are going to build a full React CRUD application with the help of Firebase Real Time Database. So let's quickly explore each CRUD operation one by one. So as you can see that we have a 3 user contact detail in our table component which is coming from our Firebase Real Time Database. So you can see that in my Firebase Real Time Database we have a 3 record, and this is the same data which is displaying in our table component. So now let's add one contact here. So I am going to click on this add contact on this header link and add one contact with the Harry and the email harry@gmail.com, and let's keep some random contact number and let's click on the save. So now you can see that we have got this post message that saying contact added successfully, and our table component also updated with that recently added contact. You can also verify in our Firebase real time database. So if I go to Firebase, so you can see that this is the recently contact which we have just now added, and you don't have to refresh this page to get this data in our Firebase. Now let's perform delete operation. So I am going to delete the first record. So let's click on this delete button, and we have got this pop-up confirm message that warn user before deleting that contact, and if you click OK, record will get deleted from our table component, and we have got this post message that saying that contact deleted successfully. Now it's time to update the existing record. So I am going to update this record. So I am going to click on this edit button, and you will land on the update page, and I am going to update name here. So let's give here Potter, Harry Potter, and now let's click on the update. We have got this post message that saying contact updated successfully, and in our table component that record is also getting updated. So you can see that this record is updated in our table component. You can also verify in our Firebase database. So let's go into the Firebase, and you can see that the name has got now updated. You can also see the specific user contact detail by just clicking on this view button. So if you click on view, you will navigate toward the user contact detail page, and you can see that contact detail here. So we have got here ID, name, email and contact, and we have got the go back button, and if you click on go back, it will lead you to the home page. We have also covered some basic form validation. So if I just click on add contact, and if I just click on save without providing any value in input field, so we have got this error message. You can see that in our toast message, like please provide value in each input field. So this is the overall application that we are going to build in this video. So before you start writing any code, if you haven't subscribed my channel, then please subscribe this one and like the video as well if you find out that content is useful. So let's start working on this application. So guys, now I am on this directory, and I am going to open one CMD terminal here. CMD terminal is open, and I am going to create a React project here. So npx create React app, and the project name will be like Firebase CRUD operation. So this is the name I am going to give, and it will take around 5 to 10 minutes to install all the necessary dependency. So based on the internet connection and the OS perform, it will take around 5 to 10 minutes to install all the necessary dependency. So I'll be back once all the dependency got installed. So guys, our all dependency got installed, and our React project got set up here. So first I wanted to go into this directory. So cd firebase -crud operation. So before I do npm start, I wanted to install some packages that is required to build this application. So I wanted to install the package like React Router DOM, Firebase and React Hostify. Meanwhile, I have already opened this project in my Visual Studio Code. So I'm going into my Visual Studio Code. So guys, as you can see that the project is open in my Visual Studio Code, and let's create some folder here. So I'll create a folder like components, and we will have one page folder, so pages, and we will have one file that is a firebase.js. So the next thing, I wanted to set up the Firebase. So first let's go into the official website of our Firebase. So this is the website that we need to create a project in our Firebase. So I'm just going to add a project here, and the project name I'm going to give here like React Contact, and let's click on the continue. And we don't need this Google Analytics, and let's scroll down and let's click on this create project, and it will take around 1 to 2 minutes to create your project. So guys, our project is now created here. So let's click on the continue, and it will navigate towards the dashboard. So what we have to do here, we have to click on this web, okay, and you have to basically register the app. So you can give the same name that we have give while creating the project. So I am going to give the same name here like React Contact, and just click on this register app, and there will be some Firebase SDK will get generated. So we need those configuration. So this is the configuration that is required in our React application. So let's just copy this configuration, and let's go back to our Visual Studio Code and just paste it here. And some more stuff required in this file, so I'm going to add those code here. So I need to bring here Firebase from Firebase/app, and we also need to bring the Firebase database here. So Firebase database, okay, and here const fire db and Firebase dot initialize app, and we can pass this configuration here, and let's export default fire db dot database dot ref. Okay, so let's just do that one, and we are done with the Firebase setup in our application. And we have to also do one more thing here. So you have to click on this continue to the console, and here we are using the real-time database. So let's just click on this real-time database. So guys, let's click on this create database, and you can select any location. So I'm not going to touch this database location, and you have to select this start in test mode, and let's click on this enable. So guys, now we are done with the Firebase setup. So let's go back to the Visual Studio Code. So first I'm going to create some pages here. So the pages will be like home page, home.js, and I'm going to generate a snippet here. So RFCE, and let's give heading like home. As of now, I'm just keeping as simple. We will add the content later, and the next page we are going to have add edit. So for adding the contact or updating the existing contact, we are going to use the same page. So that's why I have given the file name as like add edit. So let's give just heading as of now. We will add the code later, and we will have one view page as well, view.js, So user can see the specific detail about each user. So let's keep the heading like view. Okay, and we will have one about page, and let's generate the snippet here and give the heading like about. And the next thing, we are going to set up the router in our application. So let's come back here into app.js file. We don't need this logo. And first let's see whether our package got installed or not. So look like our package got installed, and let's remove this content. So I'm just removing this unwanted content from our application, and let's just give here like hello world. Let's do here npm start, and let's wait for the application load into the browser. And meanwhile I will set up the router in our application. So I need to bring React, and we need browser router switch and route component from our React router DOM. So bring those components from our React router DOM. What we have to do first here, we need to wrap this entire div with the browser router, and let's just paste it here. Let's go into the browser. So guys, we got this our content, that is hello world, that we have in our Visual Studio Code. So let's set up the router in our application. So I'm going to remove this hello world, we don't need this one, and we are going to have a switch here, and inside switch I'm going to have like route, and I'm going to provide the exact path. So this will be the home page, and I'm going to pass the component here. So I'm going to import the home component. So you can see that Visual Studio Code automatically suggesting me that home component. So VS Code automatically import that component, and the next page we are going to have like add, and we can remove this one exact, it's not required for this add page. So the component we have like add edit, and again VS Code automatically import that page, and for edit we are also going to have the same page, that is add edit. So I'm just going to modify this route update, and we are going to update the contact based on the ID. So I'm going to provide the ID like this way, and user can also view the specific user detail, user contact detail. So you can give like view, and again we are required here ID, and this time I need a view page here. So again VS Code automatically import that view page, and the last but not least, that is the about page. So about, and let's bring that about as well. So about, and VS Code again import automatically from this pages folder. And let's also set up the React Hostify now. So I'm going to the official npm package of the React Hostify, and we need to copy these two things. So this two import statement we need to copy and just paste it here. Okay, and you can add the toast container here. We can specify the position of the toast notification. So I'm going to give here top center, and we don't need this toast here. So let's go into the browser and verify whether this routing is working or not in our React application. So home is working. Now let's modify the URL in the browser. So this is add. Okay, so we are going to use the same page for adding the contact or updating the existing contact, and update, and you can give this ID. So again it's render the same page, and we are going to have a view. So for view also we need ID. So view page got render, and about. So about page is also got render. So the next thing, I wanted to work on the header component because I don't want it to route by adjusting the URL in the browser manually. So let's work on the header component first. So it will be easy for us to navigate throughout the application. So let's create file here like header.js and header.css. Because we are going to use pure CSS in this application, we are not going to use any third-party library like Bootstrap or Material UI. So we are going to stick with the CSS only in this project. So let's generate first snippet here, and we need some hooks from the React. So hooks like use effect, and we are also going to need use state as well, and we also need some hooks from the React router DOM. So from React router DOM, first we need link and use location, and also bring this CSS file as well. So bring that CSS file header.css, and I'm going to define one state here first for active tab. So active tab, set active tab use state, and by default the home page will be the active tab. So I'm just specify here home page, and let's first work on the content in our return. So I'm going to specify the class name here like header, and after that we are going to have another class name like logo, and I'm going to give that like contact app, and after that we are going to have another class name with the header right, and this will be not div, this will be the p tag. So let's update this one. Okay, and inside this div we are going to have a link. Okay, and this link basically what will do, so it will basically navigate towards the home page, and inside this link we are going to have one p tag, and we are going to have a class name. So we have to basically verify here if this tag is active. So we have to style that active tab here. So based on the active tab we have to style. So if we have this, if the home page is active, then apply the class name here active, else just leave as it is. Okay, and this is the home. Okay, and we are going to have a on click method. So let's just provide that method on click, and we are going to have like set active tab, and we can pass this. Okay, and likewise we are going to have for add contact and about us page. So I'm just going to copy this one, paste it here, and I'm just going to modify this URL. So this will be the add, and this route is already registered in our app.js file. So you can see that the route is registered here, and this time we are going to have add contact, and if this tab is active, then we are going to apply this class name active, and we have to adjust this one as well. So the curly bracket will close here, I think, and this backtick is will be closed here. So make sure to update this one. I'm just going to copy this one, and here I'm just going to paste it, and this will be the active tab. If the add content is active, then apply the class name active, else don't touch. Okay, so this will be like add contact, and we will have another header link that is about. Okay, about, and this will be about, this will be the about, and we need to change this one as well, about, and this will be the about. I hope you don't have any error here. Let's go into the browser. Okay, so we haven't imported that header component in our app.js, so let's bring that header component. So VS Code automatically import that header component for us, and let's go into the browser. Okay, so it's look ugly because we don't have the CSS here, so I'm just going to grab my CSS code and paste it here. So guys, I'm just going to paste the CSS code here for the header component, and guys, you can copy this styling. So you can copy this styling by pausing the video. So I hope you have copied all this styling, and let's go into the browser. So it's look nice. Okay, and let's click on this add contact. So you can see that style got applied whatever the tab is active. So add contact tab is active, so our CSS style got applied here, and if you click on about, so the CSS styling will apply on the about tab. So this is working. Okay, but if you do like this way, so if you just manually update the URL like about, so you can see that we are on about page, but this tab is not highlighted here. Ideally it should highlighted with the active tab even if user is changing the URL manually in the browser. So we can achieve that one also. So that's why I have bring that use location hooks from the React router DOM. So with the help of that we can achieve that one. So what we can do first, so we have to first store the reference of the use location into a location variable. So just store that reference, and we have to run one use effect. So this use effect will run whenever a location got changed. So if location dot path name is equal to home page, then set active tab home. Okay, and else if location dot path name, and if it's add, then set the active tab add contact. Okay, and likewise for about, we are going to specify the path name. So location dot path name / about, and set active tab will be like about. So we can verify whether this is working or not. So let's go into the browser. Let's manually change the URL here. So I'm just going to give here add. So even if you manually change the URL in the browser, so our active style will get applied based on the whatever the page you are on. So this is working fine, and this way also our styling got applied if you click on the about. Okay, so this is all working fine. So we are done with this header component now. So the next thing I wanted to work on our home component, because at the moment we don't have any data in our Firebase Real Time Database in order to render the data in the table component on the home page. So first we have to add couple of contact in our Firebase Real Time Database in order to render the contact on our home page in the table component. So let's first work on that. Add edit page. So we need to bring from React some hooks like use state and use effect, and we also need use history and use param from React router DOM. So let's bring those hooks as well from our React router DOM. So use history and use param, but this is required once we start working on our updating the existing contact. So I'm just bringing as of now, and we also need to create one CSS file for add edit page. So let's create that file as well, and let's bring that file here, CSS file, add edit.css, and here we need a Firebase DB, DB from Firebase, and let's bring the toast as well from our React Toastify. Okay, so toast, we are going to define the initial state outside of this functional component. So initial state, so we are going to have name, so this will be the empty for now, name, email, and the contact. Okay, and let's define the state here. So const state, set state, use state, and I am going to pass the initial state here, and we also need to define the data. So data, set data, but this will require later when we start working on updating the existing contact. So you can define, for now we will use later. And let's destructure this name, email, contact. So we don't have to write in our input field like state dot name, state dot email, state dot contact. So I'm just going to destructure first here. So let's work in our return statement. So under return, first we need to define the style. So I'm just going to provide some inline styling. So margin top, I'm going to give 100 pixel, and now we are going to have form, and inside the form we will have inline style. So I'm going to give here margin auto, and padding, let's keep padding 15 pixels, and max width, so max width will be like 400 pixel. So let's give that 400 pixel. Align content center, and let's just format this one. And inside form we were going to define our 3 input field, that is name, email, contact. So first we are going to have label, and we are going to use HTML for name, and let's define the input field. So the input field will have like type, not type of, type, text, ID you can give, name we have to provide, so it will be the name only, placeholder, so you can define the placeholder. So let's remove the comma, and placeholder will be like your name, and value we can give here name, and on change, so handle input change, and let's provide the on submit here as well. So on submit will be having like handle submit. Okay, let's define this one here at the top so that we don't get any error while compiling this file, and define this one as well. So I'm defining here. Okay, and let's work on the other input field, and let's format this one as well. And I'm just going to copy for other input field like email and the contact. So just paste it couple of times. So this will be like email. Let's give email, type will be email, name will be email, this name will be also email, this will be like email, and for contact, so this will be the contact, and the type will be the number. Okay, ID will be the contact only. So the spelling is incorrect. Let's make sure to correct this one. Let's just copy this one and paste it here, and this will be like your contact. Okay, your contact number. Okay, and this will be the value will be the contact, and this will be the email. Okay, and let's define one button here. So the button we are going to use here input. So the type will be the submit, so the value will be the save. Okay, and let's save this one, so we can verify this whether form is rendered or not in our add edit page. So let's click on this add contact, and we got this form, but it is looking ugly, so we have to provide the CSS code here in our add edit.css file. So I'm going to grab the CSS code for this file add edit.css. So this is the CSS code is required for this file. So guys, just copy this CSS code. So I hope you have copied all this CSS code. So it's not that much. So I hope you have copied all this CSS code, and let's go into the browser, and now we got this our beautiful form in our add edit page, and let's type something. So at the moment you will not able to type something in this input field because we have to work on this handle input change. So this handle input change will receive an event, and so we have to destructure the name and value from the e.target. So let's destructure those name and value, because we have provide this name and value on each input field. You can see that here, and we are going to set the state here, and I'm just going to spread out this state, and let's write this way because it will basically maintain the internal state of each input field. So on each keyboard stroke it will basically maintain an internal state. So let's provide the value here, and let's go into the browser whether we are able to type something or not into input field. So just refresh this one, and let's type something. So now we are able to type in each input field. So this will accept only number. So now the next thing we have to work on our handle submit. So this handle submit will also receive an event, And first let's prevent the default behavior of browser. So e.prevent default. And now first we are going to check here if there is no name is provided or if there is no email provided. So I'm just going to validate each input field here. So this is a very basic validation. I don't want to submit the form empty into our Firebase database. So I'm just checking here if any field is empty. So I'm going to throw the toast notification. So the error message will be like, please provide value in each input field. Okay, so this error message I am going to provide if any input field is empty by the user. So it's gonna throw that error message. So this way we will basically avoid submitting the form empty in our Firebase database. So now I am going to write the Firebase query here to submit the form in our Firebase database. So firedb dot child, and now I can give here the database name like contact. So at the moment we haven't created the database manually. So if there is no existing database in our Firebase, then whatever the name you are giving here, it will create database with the same name, whatever the name you are going to provide here. So I am providing the Firebase database name here, contacts, and now I am going to push. So push, and I am going to push the entire state. And if there is error, so I am defining here a callback function. So if there is error, so just do a toast dot error, and I'm going to pass this error. And in else part, so means basically if there is no error means contact added successfully. Okay, and once we add the contacts successfully in our database, so I wanted to basically navigate towards the home page. So we have already bring this use history. So let's store the reference of use history into a history variable. So const history is equal to use history. So here I am going to use that history method. So let's navigate toward the home page. So I am going to use here head timeout. So I just wanted to make little bit delay while navigating towards the home page. So that's why I'm using a head timeout here. So set timeout history dot push, and let's provide the home route, and I'm just going to delay around 500 millisecond. Okay, and I think we are done here. And let's go into the browser and verify whether we are able to add the contact in our Firebase database or not. So let's go into this application, refresh it, and let's first verify whether we got our error message or not if input field is empty. So let's just click on the save, and we got this post notification that's saying that please provide value in each input field. And now let's add one contact. So the contact will be like Peter Parker, that is Spider-Man, Peter Parker @gmail.com, and let's give his contact number, and let's click on the save. Now we are able to navigate towards the home page, and we got this toast message like contact added successfully. And let's go into the Firebase database and verify whether we are able to add that contact or not. So we got this contact DB here, contact database here, and we have this ID for that specific data. and we have the contact, email and name. Okay, so we are successfully able to store the contact detail in our Firebase Real Time Database. And the next thing, we have to basically display those contact detail in the table component once user navigate from the add edit page. So we have to work on this table component now. So let's first work on the home.js file, because we have to display the contact that we have in our Firebase database in the table component. So we need to bring here use state first, use state, use effect, and we also need that Firebase DB. So Fire DB from our Firebase file, and we need link from React router DOM. Bring that link from React router DOM, and we also need to bring this CSS file for the home page, but we haven't created that file. So I'm going to create that file home.css, and let's bring that CSS file here as well. So home.css, and first I'm going to define one state. State will have a data and the set data, use state, and this will be the object. Now I'm going to write one use effect, and this use effect will basically make a Firebase query to get all the data from our Firebase real-time database. So we have to make the query here inside our use effect. So firedb.child, and we can provide this db name. So db name we have contacts, and after that we can give like on value, and we can pass on callback here. So snapshot, and we can check here if snapshot dot value is not equal to null, that means we have got the data. So I'm going to set the data here. So snapshot dot value, and if you don't have any data, that means we are going to set the empty object. So let's just format this one, and we have to also write a cleanup function here. So return set data and just make it empty, and we have to provide the dependency as a empty array. Okay, so now we got this data. Now the next thing, we have to work on our table component. So we have to design that table here. So I'm going to provide some inline style here. So margin top 100 pixel, and here we are going to use a table, and inside table we will have the class name, the styled table. Okay, and we will have t head. Inside t head we will have a table row, and so this will have a table head, and inside that I'm going to provide one inline style, and text align will be the center, and the first column will be like number, and I'm just going to copy this couple of times, and this will be the name, this will be the email, this will be the contact, and this will be the action in which we will have our edit, view, delete button, and we will have a t body here. So define the t body, that means table body, and inside that table body we are going to map the data which we have in our state. So object dot keys, so we will have the data, and I'm just going to map over, and we will have the ID and index, and so we will have the table row again here, and I'm going to provide the key as a ID, and we will have the table head, and this will be the index plus 1 because I wanted the row start from the 1, and we can give here a scope like row for this one, and the next one we will having a table data. So I'm going to use td here, and inside that I'm going to have like data id dot name, and I'm just going to copy this one couple of times because we have email and the contact as well, and we will define the button later. So let's first see whether we are able to see the data or not in our table component. So let's refresh this one. So we got this column number, name, email, contact and action, and we got this data from our Firebase database, but at the moment our table look very ugly. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to grab the CSS code for this file. So guys, I have got this CSS code for this file, and I'm just going to paste it here. And guys, you can just copy this all CSS styling. So you can just pause this video and copy all the styling that we have here in our CSS file. So I hope you have copied all this styling by pausing this video. And let's go into the browser. Now we have got the proper styling in our table component, and the data looks fine here. Now let's add those three buttons, that is edit, view, delete. So I'm going to add those buttons now. So we are going to have one more table data. Okay, and inside that I will have first link, because the first button will be like edit. Okay, so button, and this will be edit, and I'm going to give the class name here like btn edit. Okay, and the link we have to give here, like we have to provide the route here. So update and with the id. So this route is already registered in our app.js file, you can see that. So it will basically navigate towards the add edit page once you click on this edit button. The next button we are going to have for delete. So I'm just going to copy this one and paste it here. So this will be the delete, and let's change this class name as well. So we have a different color for this button, that is edit, delete, view. We will have one more button, that is view. So view will be also similar to this one because it will navigate towards the view page. So again we have to use the link, and we have to provide here proper route, and the class name also we have to adjust. So this will be the view, and the button value will be the view. And let's go into the browser and see whether we are able to see this button or not. So we are able to see the button. Now I wanted to add one contact here, so let's add the contact from here. So the second contact will be like James Bond @gmail.com, some random contact, and let's click on the save. Now we got this message, and the data is also getting added and the content is also getting added in our table component. Now the next operation I am going to perform the delete operation. Okay, so let's do that one. So in delete we have to provide one on click method. The method will be like on delete and we can pass the id here. Okay, let's define this method outside this return method. So const on delete, it will have the id. Okay, and I'm going to show one window confirm pop-up message like, are you sure that you wanted to delete that content? Something like that. I wanted to give the message before deleting that content to the user. So window confirm, and the message will be like, are you sure that you wanted to delete that contact? So this message I will display to the user. And again I'm going to run the Firebase DB query here, firedb.child. We have to give here DB name, contacts, along with which data we have to basically delete from our Firebase database. So we have to provide the ID like this way, and then we can use here remove, and we can use error here, and if there is error, and we can throw this error message in the toast in the form of toast notification. So toast.error, and we can pass this error, and if there is no error, that means that content got successfully deleted from our Firebase Real Time Database. So I can throw the success message here like toast.success, and the message will be like contact deleted successfully. Okay, so we can verify this one whether it's working or not. So let's go into the browser and first refresh this application. And now I wanted to delete this record, so let's click on this delete button. Now we got this message like, are you sure that you wanted to delete that content? And if you click OK, you can see that the record is getting deleted from this table component, and we got this post message that's saying that contact deleted successfully. And let's also verify from our Firebase real-time database whether record is getting deleted or not. So it's look like from here also it's getting deleted. So guys, the next thing I wanted to perform the update operation. So if you click on this edit button, so you can see that we are able to navigate towards the same add edit page where we have form. So first we need to populate the existing value for each input field that we have the data here. Okay, so if you go back to the home page, so we have all this data like name, email, contact. So we have to populate all this value when you click on the edit button in this form component. So let's first populate these value on each input field. So let's go back to the add edit.js file, and here what we can do, so we have already imported that use param. So first we need the ID. Okay, so if you go back to the browser, so you can see that we have got this ID in our URL. So we have to grab that ID with the help of use param. So we can grab that ID like use param, and we can destructure the ID. So whatever you have defined here in our route, so we have defined ID, so we are going to destructure the ID only. And here we have to run one use effect. So this is the same use effect we have to run here. So I'm just going to copy this entire use effect. Okay, and let's just paste it here. Okay, and this use effect will only run when we have the ID. Okay, so this won't run unless we don't have ID. So we have done this step. The next step, we have to write one more use effect. So use effect, and this effect will only run again when we have the ID and when we have the data. So here we are hitting the data, so this use effect run only when we have the ID along with the data. So if we have the ID, that means user is performing the update operation. So in that case, we have to hit the state, and I'm going to spread out and data and ID. This way I'm going to set the state so that it can populate the existing value into each respective input field. And in else case, I can just provide that initial state. Okay, and again we have to write the cleanup function. If user navigate to other page like home page or about page, so we have to also write this cleanup function, and I'm just going to provide this set state here. Okay, so I have just copied this one, and we have to do one more thing in our each input field. So in order to populate that value, so we have to adjust this one. Okay, so let's do that one. And let's do that here as well. And let's go back to the browser. So you can see that we got this data, and if you go back to the home page, refresh this one, and let's click on edit again. So we are successfully able to populate the existing value into their each respective input field. Now I wanted to modify this button value as well in case of performing the update operation. So what we can do here, so if we have the ID, that means user is performing the update operation. So if we have ID, that means the button value will be the update, else it will be the save. Okay, and let's go and verify this one as well. So our button value got changed here from add to update in case of update operation. So now we have to perform the update operation. So we have to modify some of the logic in our handle submit. So in else part, what we can do here, if you don't have ID, that means user is adding a new contact. So we can just copy this entire query here, and if we have ID, that means it's going to be the in else condition. That means user is updating the existing contact. So again I'm going to copy this one, and here we have to specify which contact is updating. So we cannot use this way, we have to use backtick here, and we can specify the ID. So we have already ID which we are grabbing using the use params. So we can pass the ID, and we can simply use the here set. Okay, and we can pass the state, and if there is a error, so I'm going to throw the error in the form of notification, and if there is no error, that means user is successfully able to update the contact. So we can give the message like contact updated successfully. Okay, and the head timeout will be applicable in both scenario, whether you are adding the content or updating the existing content. In both scenario, we wanted to navigate towards the home page. So let's go into the browser and update one record. So let's refresh this one, let's go to the home page, and let's edit this one. So I'm just going to edit the email, giving here email as 1234, and let's update the contact as well. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, and let's click on the update. Now you can see that we are successfully able to update the record as well, and we got the post message as well, like contact updated successfully. And you can see that in the table component the email and contact got successfully updated, and here also it's getting updated, okay, in our Firebase Real Time Database. So edit operation perform, delete operation perform, the next operation. So the next thing we have to work on this view part, okay. So let's work on that one as well. So we need to bring here like use state from our React. So bring that use state hook and the use effect hook, and we also need that fire db. So bring that fire db as well from our Firebase file, and we also need use params, use history, and the link from our React router DOM. So use param, use history, use param, and the link. And we also need to bring that CSS file for this page. So let's create one CSS file like view.css, and let's bring that file as well in our view page. So import view.css, and let's define one state. So guys, it will hold only the single contact details. So I'm just going to define one state like contact, or I'm just going to define like user set user. So we will have the single user contact detail here. So use state, and this will be the object, and we have to also grab the ID once the user click on the view button. So if you click on this view button, so we have to grab this ID with the help of use param hooks. So let's grab that ID with the help of use param, and we have destructured this ID, and we have to run one use effect, okay. So this use effect will only run once we have the ID, okay. And we have to make Firebase query here. So fire db dot child, and we have to specify the db name, and from db which contact detail is required. So we have to specify the ID here as well. So it will fetch only the single contact from our Firebase database. So we can use your get method, and then we can use your then method, and we will have callback. So I'm just going to use a snapshot here, okay. And if a snapshot dot exist, so we have one method here, means if you have the data, then I'm going to set the user here. So I'm just going to spread out like a snapshot dot value, so val. So we will get that single contact inside this user object. So if you don't have the data in our Firebase database, so I'm just going to make this hit user as an empty object, okay. And let's format this one, and we can also console log this one whether we are getting this single contact or not, single user contact. So I have just put a console here, and let's go into the browser, refresh it, this one. So you can see that we got this single contact detail in our user object. So let's work on this return part. So here in this div we are going to have one inline style with the margin top, 100 pixel, and let's give 150 pixel, and inside that I'm going to use one class name, that is card, and we will have one more div with the class name card header. Okay, and inside that I will have p tag, which will basically will have a heading like user contact detail, and after this div I will have one class name with the container. Okay, and we are going to have one strong tag here. So strong tag I'm going to use, and it will having the ID, and we are going to use span tag here, and we are going to specify the ID, and I will have break here. So I'm just going to provide the true break, and the next thing we will have name, email, and the contact. So I'm just going to copy this 4th thing again and just paste it couple of times, and we have to adjust this one. So it will be name, and this will be like user dot name. This will be the email, so it will be like user dot email, and we have to paste it one more time. So this will be contact, so this will be user dot contact, and we will have one button. Okay, so I can use here link. Okay, so this will basically a go back button, which will basically navigate towards the home page, and we can use here button with the class name btn. So I'll be using the same color which I have on my edit button, so that's why I have given the class name here btn edit. So it will have the same color for the go back button as well, and we can give here like go back the button value name, and we can grab the CSS code for this file. So I'm just going to get the CSS code for this view page. So this is all the CSS code is required for the view page. So I hope guys you have copied all this CSS styling by pausing this video. So let's go into this view.js file, and let's make sure that we are not missing anything. So let's go into the browser. We have got this little nice information over here with like ID, name, email, contact, and we can give some space as well. So what you can do here, you can give some space like this way in order to make looks better. So let's go into the browser. So we got our single user contact detail here, and if you click on go back, you will navigate towards the home page, and we don't need the use history here. So let's remove this use history. So we are able to navigate with the link only, so no need use history here. And let's go into the browser, and let's add one more contact. Okay, so the contact I'm going to give here, again I'm going to give here like James Bond @gmail.com. let's give some random contact, and let's click on the save. We got this message, and the data also getting added in our table components. Let's edit this contact. So let's give email like 1234. So let's, and the spelling of update button is wrong, so let's fix that one. So it should be update. Okay, let's go into the browser, and let's update this email with 1234 and let's click on the update. So we got this message like contact updated successfully, and the record is also getting updated in our table component. Let's click on this view button and we are able to see the single user contact detail as well. And guys, we have to also add one content in our about page. So let's add those content as well. So it's a one line content. Okay, so I'm just going to grab the content for this about page. So in about page we will have this content. Okay, so it's just a basic information about this application. So like this is React contact management system application with routing using Firebase. So let's go into the browser and we got this about page with a small information about this application, that this is a React contact management system application with routing using Firebase. So guys, we have performed all CRUD operation in this application using the Firebase Real Time Database in our React application. And I hope guys you have enjoyed this video, and if you like this video then please press the like button and subscribe this channel as well. Thank you so much guys for watching this video. Bye bye.